You know the J League pretty well, right?
Yeah, actually better than probably most of the European leagues then, yeah.
Yeah. Who do you see in the J League that might be able to do well in Bundesliga at the moment?
I think like the most difficult part is that I don't know those players personally. I don't have like much of insight about how they are set up actually. But maybe what I always thought when I saw him at Kashima Antlers was Yuma Suzuki, who's now with Sandtruiden, and recently I think he was quite disappointed like not being selected for the national team. So, but I think he is kind of like the character to not arrogance, but self-assuredness. To make the step, and actually he's doing quite well with Sandtruiden at the moment. So I think if there's a player that has those attributes, because many Japanese players are very, very talented, very disciplined. I think this is the self-assuredness, the confidence.
I think that's
something. It's sometimes lacking.
Particularly towards overseas people, I think. European League. They just like, as soon as they hear kind of, Germany, Bundesliga, they just kind of shy away. I mean, that's my impression. And it is pretty rare. And strikers particularly, I think, need that ego, confidence.
Definitely. I mean, Osako is kind of like a good example because with the national team, he's at the moment, currently, he's the best striker Japan has to offer. But he's very viewed critically with Werder Bremen at the moment because he can't deliver there in the Bundesliga, so they got relegated at some point. With the national team, he can score 5 goals against Mongolia or something. So I think the last big striker was kind of like Okazaki. He was really, really good. Yes.
Osako, he's God status in Japan. I mean, he's been there for a while now. How do you see his career developed in the Bundesliga?
Now, for years, Osako actually has kind of lost profile in the Bundesliga. He went quite well with the 1860 Munich, with Cologne. He also had quite a standing, but I think the biggest problem is for him, he's not like this typical number 9 striker, like center forward. He's more like coming from the second line, having like a clinical pass before someone else strikes. So with the national team, maybe it's a different situation because there aren't that many other strikers that he can kind of like hide behind. But with Werder Bremen, they definitely needed someone who can score, and for them, Osako wasn't it. I'm not sure how this actually will move on, how he will further his career within Europe, maybe go back to Japan at some point. But I think like many Japanese players will try like Kagawa to stay as long as they can in European football.
Last time you mentioned someone from Frontale that you like a lot?
Absolutely, like Kaoru Mitoma. He's like a player that I would, or many people would definitely like to see at some club in Europe. I wonder if he will like move to Europe this summer. If not, I would like suggest doing the scouting myself next time because he really is something special. So if he has a chance to go to Europe, maybe not do the mistakes like you can see with Kubo, he goes to Real Madrid, which is kind of precious club, special club, but then again he's just loaned out forever and not like getting a chance because they don't have to depend on him. So maybe he should just aim for some minor mediocre well-established club in some European league, but I would love to see him play here.
Become a star there, get used to Europe, 2-3 years there, then I think that's the smart way to go. But when Real Madrid comes knocking, it's hard to say no, huh?
It's probably difficult, right? I mean, for even for him going to a Spanish-speaking league, of course, having like learned it from the early age on. But it's sad that Kubo at the moment can't like really show what he's capable of because he's really also some very good player.
Yeah, I mean, he's still 19, 20, so still young in any sense.
You're keen to forget that those guys are really young, right? I mean, they are like in the eye of the public for so long now. And if you look at their profile, it says, he's 20. Yeah, I mean, he has like 15 years still to go down the line.
Players like Usami, who went to Bayern Munich, he came back then went again. How do you feel about players like him? What he lacked?
That's kind of an interesting story because like he had kind of the confidence going to Europe. I think there was kind of a quote, he wants to become like a world footballer, like winning the Ballon d'Or or something, like Messi. So I mean, this is very, very high confidence. But at the end, like going to a club like Bayern, I think he kind of overreached with where he was advised to go to, because Bayern, as I said, they often get like those very, very well-established players also from Bundesliga or some other European
Well, I had Ribery and Robben at the time, right?
At that time, it was Thomas Müller, I think, who was like one of the young stars coming from their own club. Going to Bayern Munich broke his backbone there, I guess, because they didn't rely much on him. The next time he moved to Hoffenheim, which was kind of the profile I thought would suit him well. And when I saw him back then, he was a very good player with Gamba Osaka. He was also kind of a good player. Absolutely, very talented player. But with Hoffenheim, he had like the very odd situation that they were fighting relegation the whole season. And so they couldn't have integrate a Japanese player who at some point didn't look like he really wanted to be integrated at the club. So they looked for different players to help them not being relegated that season. I even read that with his wife, they were just living in their kind of Japanese capsule within like the region. There's a big Japanese diaspora lives, and so they just like moved in that circle, and you have to get out of that. You have to go out with your teammates. Your best way is to learn the language at some point. It looked like Usami was, apart from his ambition to become like a very, very good football player, which he at that point certainly was, he didn't wasn't willing to get to the next step to achieve that. You can see what he's capable of when you look at his time with Fortuna Düsseldorf, where he played together with Genki Haraguchi for half a season. Yeah, Düsseldorf is being one of the biggest Japanese diasporas in Europe, having him well suited there, having Genki Haraguchi as another anchor there. Suddenly, they both were on fire. And this is something that I really feel bad about Usami, or when thinking about Usami, because you could see that he was capable of doing something special, but he wasn't willing to do that, kind of. The difference with Genki Haraguchi, for example, who even now, still not being I think that talented as Usami was back then, but he is doing very well. I recently saw a video of him having a kind of a season review with Hannover 96, so where he speaks German, quite proper German. So you can see he integrated very well. So
he's been there for a while now, at least 5-6 years.
Absolutely. I think he's a very controversial player when it comes to his abilities. Played with Hertha for a long time. Those few games where he was very, very good, always was running, very hard fighting guy. But then again, there were some games where he didn't bothered to go back to defend. And so some people were very frustrated with Haraguchi, but still you can see he integrated as well, that he is now still one of those Japanese players playing in Bundesliga.
He's had a career there.
Right. Yeah, he had a career, right? He's a mediocre player at some point, but he's well established. Now he's going to Union Berlin to help probably set up Keita Endu, who also is kind of talented, but maybe needs some assistance there, getting integrated into the club. So really looking forward to that. And I mean, even though Hannover wasn't able to be promoted to the Bundesliga, Genki Haraguchi actually raised his market value now this summer to 2.5 million euro again. So which is decent.
Well, I want to hear about the German view on Euros.
Oh, Euros. Oh, I'm actually not the good person to talk to, because I really don't bother that much, actually. I mean, they just the U21, I think yesterday won their Euro tournament.
I feel like the German team always performs well on big tournaments. I don't know the facts, but I just feel like no matter how much or how little talent you guys have, you guys do well.
Every tournament, it's said, oh no, this team is this is a competition team. You don't play those friendlies very well, but when they need to deliver something, they will do. I think this kind of broke a little after the Russian World Cup, 2018, where they exited the group stage for the first time, I think, ever.
Wow.
So
that's the thing, though. That's how first time ever.
You're talking about something that's really very much discussed within Europe or within Germany even, that German national football team is always performing on the tournaments and not beforehand. I think for example, if you compare it to Premier League, you have that very talented English players there, but the Premier League is a very global league, so very much foreign players there. So you don't have this core team maybe that is just consisting of English players. You have, for example, with Bayern Munich, you have this core of Bayern players that are nominated no matter how bad they are with Bayern, but they still play with the national team. But to a certain degree, I think this helps to have this core team available at any time.
I see.
They know each other, they can play together well.
That's true. What's your prediction for the Germans?
Really hope that they will make it at least far enough, but I don't think they will win it. I think maybe like semi-finals. But as you saw with the Russia World Cup, it's very hard to predict because maybe they just like let it go at some point.
Russia was very hard to predict, I feel.
It really was. I mean, this was a very crazy tournament. I mean, that's what kind of like attracted me to Japanese football because it was very unpredictable. So I don't mind that, but still I think at this point maybe Löw should be interested to have like a very good goodbye for his long stint as a national team manager, right?
Yeah, it will be interesting how like politics would change after this pandemic. We had no choice but to rely on politicians the last 1.5 years. Japan has been terrible, just quite. It's a joke. They've done nothing. They've literally done nothing.
But that's kind of like Japanese politics, isn't it? I mean, just like letting things happen and see where it leads to.
And then no one says anything because no one's going to take any responsibility anyway. So it's a joke.
Yeah, actually, that's kind of like how some things go now here. But but they did quite well. And I think like it's kind of German because I think after like UK, Israel, USA, we are like maybe like the 4th or 5th nation that does quite well on vaccination, but still like people are like arguing, oh, we developed the BioNTech Pfizer and we don't get it at first, and well,
people always complain about anything.
They will. Like we are like the 5th nation of 190 nations worldwide, and we're still that's German.
We're so late still. It's not even 10% of the population yet.
I know, and I'm really sad because I would love to travel to Japan at some point, but I don't know if it will happen for 2 years now.
I'll try and make you famous, and you can come and have fun.
Or maybe I will get a chance to go to like a famous people. Just do so. Please become famous.
Yeah, I'll try. Okay. Well, thanks so much for your time, Tobias.
Be in contact with you. Talk about also Japanese football if you like. Always happy.
Sounds good.
And to improve my very, very awesome Japanese language skills.
Okay. Well, can you say goodbye to my audience in Japanese?
Mata ne. See you later, I guess.
Yeah, sounds good. All right. Cheers.
Yeah. All right. Take care.
Go.